We really appreciate all the time and effort that goes into this and sharing all the data. This is the methodology is very sound and the data is fantastic. So we really appreciate that. Look forward to the book and the article. Are we allowed to PDF like the article? Put it on the FSTA website.
I think so. I'll see why not.
All right, well, help me with that, will you? Yeah, I don't have my subscription to mass communication, whatever, that ran out. So, yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's, Coming up next, leveraging the second screen. This morning you heard Nielsen tell us about the prevalence of second screen and how many of our customers are using second screens while they're consuming sports. Now, how do we leverage the second screen as fantasy owners and operators? How do we leverage the second screen for a better user experience and to hopefully monetize as well? To lead that discussion, please help me welcome your moderator, longtime Fox Sports Digital executive Ed Bunnell.
Come on up, guys.
Chair. We sit in order? I have no idea. All right,
Whatever.
Oh, thank you, sir. What's going on,
All right, so leveraging the second screen. We have a fairly diverse group of companies up here. Many of them don't actually have really anything directly to do with fantasy, but I think the goal of this session is to try to learn as much from their experiences as they develop their second screens, so that hopefully if you're thinking about developing second screen experiences for your games, your information, that you can learn something from these guys and apply it. So first up, we have John Small from Viggle. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about Viggle and what you guys have going on?
Sure. So Viggle is a second screen business. We want to create an interactive television experience for all of TV. We want you to control your TV, your set-top box. We want to help you find what to watch. When you find out what show you want to watch, then we want to entertain you and make the show more interesting with content that you can find on your tablet or on your phone. And then while you watch it, we want to reward you for the loyalty for the shows you do watch. As part of that, we've created a real-time fantasy game called My Guy that we've launched with NFL and NBA so far, and will come out to all the major sports, where you choose one player on the court or on the field, and you can switch as many times as you want during the course of the game, and pay more attention and reward you with points based on how well you do in the game competing against your friends. The whole idea and why we have a presence here is we're planning on being engaging all of TV, being a distribution platform for other cool, exciting ideas. We certainly won't create everything that people want to do with sports and how they want to interact with the games, but we plan to be a distribution platform for all of you to allow your content to plug in to reach our audience base. We're a media company, and we want to be distribution for everybody.
Thank you. Greg Lewis from Fan Candy.
I'll start by saying that my background is in television sports. I worked for NBC and CBS from about 1975 until about 2005 as on-air talent. So what Fan Candy has done is tried to understand what the television networks want and what kind of content is, we'll use the terminology social TV, is additive, deepens viewer engagement, and can be also a source of data and sponsorship activation. So that's been our orientation. We're not pure fantasy. We are a prediction game, although we can take that prediction game, which is unlike any other prediction game, because we quantify the opinions of our players to create real-time odds, which we call fan factors, on various outcomes. But we can create propositions, for example, which fantasy, let's take a category, which AFC out of these 6 quarterbacks, which one will score the most fantasy points this weekend. We could do that for all categories and create odds according to all the players as to which they think will be the top or the most likely quarterback to win the most fantasy points. So we're not pure fantasy. We would like to, we've got some ideas for how we can create fantasy games that use our proprietary data, but we are a second screen experience that fits into social TV that can have fantasy components.
Great. Bob Morgan from SportsStream.
Hi, so SportsStream, when we set out to start the company, we looked at the notion of second screen specific to sports. And our view was, for decades, you've had on television broadcast a couple people in the booth giving you play-by-play and color commentary on a game, which, you know, some of the guys are terrific, but it was and even revered, but it was a limited perspective. And with the rise of social platforms, there's this opportunity to get more of a 360-degree view of what's being said about a game, what your friends are saying about a game, but it's really noisy. So, for example, when you had the replacement ref debacle in Seattle really come to a head, Twitter says the next day, we saw 1.2 million tweets on our platform specific to that game. I can't read 1.2 million tweets. You know, I'm interested. So what we really set out to do was, how do we filter this commentary? How do we find the best tweets, the best Facebook posts, interesting Instagram photos, and interweave that with editorial information and play-by-play and statistical and scoring information all at game time? Give you a really nice cohesive stream of content that's really filtered to the best stuff for fans as a game's happening. So we've done that on the iPad, we've done that for iPhone and a web app, but we've done it all on an API, and we've started to use that API in partnership with other folks. So like a lot of other people presenting today, our interest in being here was potentially partnering up with folks, looking for areas where we could distribute that stream, because we think, particularly with fantasy, it's one of the biggest things that we've had in terms of feedback is game information is great, team information is great, let's get it to the player level, what's being said about players, what kind of updates can we get, and there's just, the latency is so low on these social platforms and discussion, it's coming so fast. If you have an appetite and you're interested in getting information, and it can be filtered down in a solid way, we think that can be great experience for sports fans, and that's what we've set out to do.
Great. Last but not least, Nick Sulsky from InGamer.
Hey, so InGamer is based on kind of a really important philosophy which fits right in television. Our belief is that the only content that people have to watch in real time right now are sports, award shows, and elections. You know, PVRs, on demand, everything else is becoming very time shifty. So, you know, based on that principle and because of our belief in the opportunity in fantasy sports and being able to create a really compelling experience for the casual sports fan, we created InGamer, which is a single event real-time fantasy game. So some of you heard my pitch in June in San Francisco. So essentially the way that InGamer works is for any individual game, so we'll take the Super Bowl for example, you would pick any 6 players from that single individual game, offense or defense from either team. You'd score points in real time based on how those players do, and then you can actually change those players for each quarter or half if you want, but you don't have to. You know, our belief is there's 2 very big kind of areas of second screen and companion. We call them heads down experiences and heads up experiences. We believe, we've built a heads up experience because we believe we don't want to distract from, quite frankly, the single most important thing in our mind, which is the game itself. So we want to create a really nice light layer to start allowing people that haven't necessarily participated in conventional fantasy sports an opportunity to come and test it out. So, I mean, we're a Toronto-based company, so we had our first version built and really monetized around hockey, licensing the platform direct into broadcasters, and then we raised around in the spring to build our new mobile first platform, which is built in HTML5, plays really nicely on phones and tablets and desktop, and then of course the good folks at the NHL decided to go on lockout, which really impacted our launch. So we'll be doing a full launch for the NBA and the NHL playoffs, but you guys can go look now. It's at beta.ingamer.com, and you'll get a sense of kind of the approach that we have, which is really about trying to broaden the amount of people that can engage in fantasy sports, but haven't necessarily done it yet, to make that first screen, the television, the game itself, enhanced and complemented by the devices that people have in their hands.
Great. So, you know, lots of learnings right here, and why don't we just get into it? First question I'd like to ask is, what was the most important consideration